hope y'all be jamming to my opening like I be jamming to my opening. Hey, welcome to the Marketing Strategies with Drastic Results show. My name is Tony Harris Taylor. I'm known as the Networking Queen. I'm the CEO and founder of Drastic Results Marketing and Sales Coaching, Network in Action, franchisee, multi-unit award-winning franchisee, and the host of the Viral Networking Conference. Welcome to today's show. Today, I want to talk about the power of a one-to-one. I teach this a lot to my clients, and when they finally get it and the light bulb comes on, it is so amazing to watch what happens. So the one-to-one is the lifeblood of networking. If you don't do one-to-ones, you might as well not show up. You know, I actually put a rubber band on a stack of business cards today, and some of these people I have had one-to-ones with, and a lot of them I have relationships with, and let's just talk about why we don't throw these away, but that's another session for another day. But nothing happens in networking until you have a date. If you don't date, people don't know you, like you, or trust you. They may see you on social media. That helps. I tell people all the time that social media is watering the seed that you planted when you met a person at an event. But just thinking you're going to post on social media and the floodgates are going to open is not the way that you can grow your business. You have to have genuine connections and relationships. And most people neglect that part. Now, one of the strategies that I teach franchisees and entrepreneurs alike, anybody actually, I don't care who you are, you must know how to ask for a date. If you were, let's just take you back a little bit, and you go to the club and the man comes up to you or the lady comes up to you and they are so forward that they turn you off. You've experienced that. Well, that happens at networking too. Sometimes you go up to somebody and you're very salesy and sleazy and slimy, and nobody wants to work with that person. And so I teach my clients how to ask for a date. So it is all about building a genuine connection so that the person will want to work with you in the future, refer you in the future, open doors for you in the future. But nothing starts without the date. Today, I have a special guest, Mr. Jack Monson, social geek radio. Many in the franchise space know him because he's known as the voice in franchising and with Brand J. I think I met Jack in October 2022. He'll have to refresh my memory, but I think we met at the leadership conference of IFA, or we met at IFA 2022. First thing I did, booked a date with Jack, and we had our first date. We've stayed connected through LinkedIn. He has interviewed me on his podcast. We'll talk about podcasting too today. But let's just be clear. Nothing happens unless somebody initiates the first date. It probably was me. So I'm excited to introduce you to my friend, Jack Monson. We're going to talk about the dating strategy and podcasting as a marketing strategy to grow your business and your franchise, whether you're a franchisor or franchisee. We'll be right back with my friend, Jack Monson.
Are you a franchisor grappling with how to stimulate your franchisees' growth and revenue? Are the phrases, "I'm not comfortable networking," "I'm an introvert"? Enter Tony Harris Taylor, your answer to these challenges. With her expert guidance and program, you can empower your franchisees to conquer networking and community outreach. Tony's program is designed to equip your franchisees with the skills and confidence to show up to the right events with the right people. It goes beyond making connections. It's about nurturing and leveraging these relationships. It's about following up, collaborating, and generating leads and referrals to maximize conversions, and ultimately increase revenue for your franchisees and for you, the franchisor. Are you ready to unlock this potential? Reach out to us at 832-479-2088. Let's embark on this journey of growth and success together.
Hey there, friend. How are you?
I am terrific. I'm even better now that I get to see you and talk to you. And I have to tell you, you are absolutely spot on. We met, and this is my superpower. I remember every time I meet a friend. We met in October of 2022 in the hallway between the exhibit hall and the lobby of the Intercontinental Hotel in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow. Both of us remember meeting one another. That's amazing. What?
You know,
And listen, we not spring chickens either. So
right. I
so we
I
must
don't
have made
remember.
a great impression on each other.
I don't remember what I had for dinner last night, but I remember meeting you, right? So,
Hold
and
on
you're
one
right.
second.
You were the one who booked the date, put it in your calendar, and I thought, wow, that's a really good idea. I should do that too.
So, Jack, in your own words, who are you and what do you do?
Um, I'm a connector. I'm a networker. That's who I am and what I do. Very much like yourself. I've always seen marketing, sales, anything I do in franchising as just sort of the product of being a networker and being a connector. And this is just the business that you and I chose to be in. But if we were in pharmaceutical or government or the food business, we would probably be doing the same thing every day, just with a different group of people.
Yeah. So let me ask this question. Do you think being connector is natural or learned?
Oh, that's a really good question. It feels like it's natural, but I think it could be learned.
I
You
think it's
know, I watched a lot of people from the time I got into business, and I realized right away the people who were really helping other people, and then that actually helped their own careers and built their own businesses, were people who were looking out for everybody else. And maybe not looking at every relationship to be something where they were going to make money off of it, but they were going to build a relationship. And someday you'll get a return on that relationship. Maybe that person will help you. Maybe that person will help one of your friends. Maybe one of your friends will help one of that person's friends. I don't know. But I saw early on that that's how business works. And I
yes.
think there's a lot of people in sales who have that title who just see business as, I'm going to go out and try to talk someone into doing something that they don't want to do, but they're
Mhm.
going to do it, and then I'm going to make money on that exchange.
Right.
Okay, that can work sometimes for some people, but it doesn't work for me, and it doesn't work for most of the people I know. So I think building those relationships, and at some point the business comes back to you, that's how this works.
Absolutely. I tell people all the time, networking is like harvesting a crop. You plant seeds,
Yeah.
then you have to water those seeds. You have to fertilize those seeds by passing a connection, passing a referral, inviting them to an event. And then when you do that consistently, you can then harvest the fruit of your labor. But it is not necessarily overnight, Jack. However, what has happened, and I've been in business a long time, people get spoiled because
Right.
they do harvest right away. every now and again, and they think that's the way it's supposed to work. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a long game and it is a learned skill.
And
I don't
sometimes those seeds don't grow into anything,
exactly.
and you can't beat yourself up over that. I've had friends who are like, "Oh, I've been, working on trying to get a meeting with this person or that person for so long, and it just isn't working out," or they said no, or it's like, that's one of a million people you've tried to talk to in the past 10 years. Let it
Absolutely.
There are so many more people out there to connect with and build that relationship with. And I think we also, and this is something that salespeople do, because they were probably trained by somebody a long time ago to do it this way. They worry too much about their target list. You know, this is the list of companies that I want to do business with, or the list of people I want to sell something to. I found those lists usually lead to something else, right? Maybe you don't work with that company, but they connect you with someone else who actually needs your services. And
Absolutely.
so so to to put this list together like it's, set in stone, you're really setting yourself up to fail. So you've got to be a lot more open-minded and see where the conversation takes you.
Absolutely. Here's another big tip. Connect with the connector. So
Right.
if you see Tony or Jack at an event, get a date with us because
Right.
we have the heart to connect you and open doors for you, whether we receive anything or not. Too many people get in their head and they think, oh, but Tony's so busy. I hear that so much. I am busy. And you want to connect with busy people.
Right.
You
Right.
don't want
You
to
want
connect with
something
people twiddling their thumbs.
you want something done, get a busy person on it.
That's right.
And let me ask you, when was the last time you told someone no who wanted to connect and have a quick conversation with you?
I
I
almost
I'll
never.
bet you never did, right?
I
And
know. And
so
sometimes, and let me be clear, sometimes you can't get that 30 minutes back in your life. It's like, but I always want to leave the person on the other side of the screen better than they were before they came on the
right,
screen.
right,
And that could be one tip, one tidbit, whatever. We still
right.
haven't talked about you. And that's a connector because they always want to talk about other things.
I
What social geek and brand J?
Right. Well, and I like interviewing other people. I really don't like to be interviewed. So that was my way of
I
deflecting
know
a
deflecting.
bit. So I'll start with Brand J. We're a digital marketing agency that focuses on franchise development. So we do a lot of things like video and websites and Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of that stuff to try to find people who would be a good fit for a certain franchise. So we do some advertising, we do some other types of content, some videos and some blog writing and that kind of thing. A lot of podcasting, which I'm sure we'll talk more about podcasting too. We do a lot of that kind of stuff to really tell the story of a franchise brand and why this could be a good opportunity for a potential candidate. So that's about half of my life. The other half of my life is Social Geek. It's a podcast network that's been around for 15 years now. We're at about 1,100 episodes, and we publish twice a week. Once a week is an interview series, and also once a week I do a news podcast specifically about franchising. So I basically pull together what's happening in the world of franchising, who's moving to what brand, what brands are merging together, what's going on with the government and the IFA and franchising and that kind of thing. And I've distilled it all down into about a 5 or maybe 6 minute podcast
Wow.
because I don't think I don't think the world needs another 2 hour long podcast, right? There's plenty of those out there. I think a lot of people who are just trying to get a quick update via audio form are very excited about a very quick thing that they can listen to while they're getting ready for work, while they're
Mhm.
driving somewhere, while they're sitting in an airport or doing whatever they might do every Wednesday morning.
Okay. Wow. I didn't realize you had this 5-minute franchise news. So I'm going to definitely check that out.
Yeah, please do. It's been going. It was something I started during COVID. There were many people trying to get their story out, and as you know, we weren't going out and seeing a lot of people in person. So I thought, what's a good way for people to consume some content that I can put together myself without traveling anywhere, doing it right here in the friendly confines of my own home studio. So I started doing that in 2020. So we're just over 4 years right now of the
Wow.
Franchise News podcast.
That is awesome. So, how has podcasting, using that as a marketing strategy, how's that helped your business?
It's been the key driver of my business for many years, really on two levels. One on a very sort of business level where we can look and see, okay, we did this podcast series and we had these sponsors and we talked about these subjects, and that brought in some new clients for my agency, or that brought in some new clients for some of my partners or something like that. That's pretty easy to figure out. How many shows did we put out there? How many commercials did we put out? And what was the result? But really, where podcasting has driven my own personal life and business even more is just the idea of doing something that not a lot of people were doing. And even to this day, there's still a lot of room for more podcasters. Anybody out there who's ever thought about doing a podcast, don't convince yourself that it's too late.
Mm,
Just like any other kind of
mm,
communications and content out there, there's always room for more. If you've got a good story to tell, if you've got valuable content to share, don't think that there's already too many podcasts. There's
mm,
something else you can do, right? So jump in, and back to how it's driven my career and my personal life is I was in radio for many years, and I got out of radio, got into marketing, worked for several marketing agencies, but I always missed radio. It was just something that I always grew up wanting to do and did for many years. And so getting into podcasting was kind of a return to radio, but I got to control the narrative and the content and the business
mhm.
behind it. It's something that I can do. I don't have, some corporate vice president of political correctness somewhere
Right.
telling me what I have to say and what I can't say. It's all on me, right? And I think the same thing goes with drastic results and all of the other stuff that you're doing, Tony. Is this is you. This
Yeah.
isn't, a product of the whatever corporation. This is all your dream, your vision. You're the one who saw it. You're the one who knows what direction you want to go with it, and you're making the decisions, and you're living with the results or the consequences, right?
Right.
So that's the other thing I love about podcasting is, unlike getting into television or commercial radio, you don't have to go work for some big company and work your way up to a middle position after many years. You can just
Right.
start, you own it, you get to
Right.
control what you do. It's
Right.
actually it's a lot like franchising, where
Mm.
you
Okay.
follow a path, but you actually own the business and you make the choices and you control your destiny, and you're not just waiting for someone to tell you, you know, what's going to happen with your paycheck next week.
Right.
You
Right.
actually get to
So
choose.
we've got to take a quick break. But when we come back, I'm going to ask the two questions I ask all of my guests, and we have not prepped you, so don't take no notes.
Okay.
We'll be right back with Jack Monson. We are back with my friend, Mr. Jack Monson. So, Jack, we're going to ask the two questions we ask everybody. Number one, how has networking, this is a silly question, but for you, how has networking changed the trajectory of your business or life and life?
I think for both, it's really been the best way, and at times the only way I've grown my business. Even outside of podcasting, just working for some franchise marketing agencies and groups like that. I've never worked with a really huge company that had, a $200 million budget to do a lot of marketing and things like that. So I've always worked for small groups. And when you're working with a limited budget, think about this. You can network as well as someone who's got a $200 million budget. They
Yes,
can outspend me, but they're not going to outwork me. And I always thought about that when we go to these franchise conferences and things like that. I can network just as well as someone from, $1 billion company, even though I'm just there by myself or maybe with my very small group. So um, I saw early that that was something that we could do and I could do pretty well. And instead of spending millions and millions on marketing and advertising, I've always found, especially in franchising, that networking gets better results than just, pushing out a lot of promotional dollars.
absolutely. I built my business globally strictly through networking and being likable.
Hmm.
You are so likable and respected.
Thank you.
You are. People love some Jack Monson. And then, so when you're likable, people want to help. They want to be a part of what you have going on. And that's what we have to focus on. If you need coaching on being a likable character, how to show up, then get a coach. Because I didn't know networking either. I had to hire a coach to teach me how to follow up and give me courage. Because that's what it is. They need the courage to show up. All
Yeah,
right.
and a little bit of confidence that,
And a little bit, and
there, there's
sometimes
nothing more attractive. You were talking earlier about sort of the similarities between business networking and dating. What does everyone always say? The most attractive thing on earth is someone who's self-confident.
confident.
And same thing in business. If you're confident, people will say, I want to lean in and hear what this person has to say. They
That's
must
right.
know what they're talking about. They
That's right.
they have this air of confidence. So, okay.
Question number two. What's the most drastic step you've ever taken in business?
I would say going back to podcasting,
Mm.
moving Social Geek from something that was sort of a labor of love and a bit of a hobby and something I enjoyed doing on a weekly or maybe bi-weekly basis, moving it from that hobby status to saying, I'm actually going to do this as a business. So that was about halfway through the run. So maybe about 9 or 10 years ago. I made it a real business. I went out and filed to be a corporation, and I went out and started selling advertising to sponsors. And what that did, that step, that drastic step, it forced me to be better, and it forced me to stay on a schedule.
Mm.
And I know you're on a very good, tight schedule when you're doing your podcasting and everything else. And I think there's something about treating anything you're doing like a serious business that will keep you on schedule. And so many people that we know have started a podcast or a YouTube channel or something like that. What happens? Three
Yeah.
weeks in, they get busy,
Yeah.
life takes over, and they can't do it, and then it just sort of fades away. But I think
Yes.
making it an actual business is what forced me to, really level up with it. And also, once you sign a sponsor, now you're responsible, right?
Right.
It's kind of like when you got your first client. Now you're
Right.
responsible for that
Now you
person, and
really
now
got to show up.
Yeah, now you got to show up. You can't say, you know what, I really don't feel like doing a
doing
podcast
that show.
today. No,
Yes, I
you
know.
got to show up just like it's a job. And even more importantly, because it's your own thing. And also, I want that sponsor to be successful. I want my sponsors to say, we get way more value out of that podcast than what we're paying for it. I want them to say that every month. So, so really taking something I was passionate about and turning it into a real business. Um, and then kind of going back to that confidence thing, it made everybody else go, oh, this is an actual business. This
Yeah,
isn't just some guy messing around with a microphone, right?
yeah.
So,
Well,
so yeah,
Jack, you are amazing. You and I could talk for a full that 2 hour podcast you mentioned. That could be us, but I don't want to hold you, and I know our audience attention spans are short. So, how can people get in touch with you if they want to advertise on your podcast? Yes, yes. If they want to
sure.
hire Brand J, or if you just want to connect with the connector.
Yeah, just connect with me at any time. The best place to go is LinkedIn. Jack Monson, Monson. Find me there at any time. You and I are both on LinkedIn all day long, so it won't be hard to get a reply back from me on LinkedIn.
And listen, it had been over a year since we had had our last conversation, and I pinged you in LinkedIn, and here we are. You
Here
immediately
we
put
are
me on
again.
your podcast. Here we are. We saw each other at IFA. Listen, Jack, I just love what we got going on.
Me
We got to
too. And
keep it
continued
going.
success to you with the show and the book and your consulting business and everything else. Continued success. You deserve it.
Thank you, my friend. When we come back, we'll hear my final thoughts. We'll be right back. That's right. Get your copy of Show Up, Be Up, Follow Up to Blow Up. Show Up to Blow Up. Also, stay connected with me in my Facebook group, The Six Figure Network. Go to the6figurenetwork.com and join my group. I got to say a final thought about what Jack and I talked about. We talked about connecting with the connectors. It's very critical that you connect with people who can open doors for you. Don't wait for them to reach out to you. You got to be drastic and reach out to them. So I'm going to give you a quick story. I've always wanted to be a sponsored speaker. When I started my business in 2011, I wanted financial service companies to sponsor me as a speaker. I'm still able to do that for y'all if you're interested. So in 2000, I met a sister, and we worked at the same financial firm, and now she is a C-suite executive at a national life insurance company. We've always stayed friends and stayed connected. One of us reached out to the other and said, let's do lunch. We had lunch, and she has sponsored me under the umbrella of her national life insurance company to be a speaker, and they have paid me and placed me in other organizations. Connect with the connectors. because people who are connectors are givers at heart and they want to help. That's my final word. This is Tony Harris Taylor saying, take a drastic step today for a fantastic tomorrow, and we'll see you next week. Bye.